Hey there, it's me, just sitting here with a coffee, thinking about a story that's been rattling around in my head for a while now. One that starts with a woman who's used to staring at stars, but ends up shaking an entire industry to its core. Picture this, Dr. Amara Ellis, a black astrophysicist who spent her life decoding the universe's secrets, steps onto a first-class cabin expecting a little peace, a little respect, maybe a glass of champagne to toast her latest award. Instead, she gets a front-row seat to the kind of quiet cruelty that cuts deeper than any knife. This isn't just about a bad flight, it's about what happens when someone refuses to let their dignity get checked at the gate. So, let's rewind to a crisp evening at Chicago O'Hare, the kind of night where the terminal lights bounce off the glass like a city holding its breath. Amara's just pulled up in a sleek black car, her driver unloading a single leather carry-on, because that's how she rolls: light, focused, everything she needs tucked in her brain, or a slim folder of equations. She's headed to London to accept the Hawking Prize, a big deal in her world, a nod to years spent mapping cosmic waves, charting paths to places no human's ever been. It's not just an award, it's a moment that says, you did it, against all odds. Her dad, a janitor who'd point out constellations to her as a kid, used to say the stars don't care about your name or your skin, they just shine. That's what Amara's carried with her, that truth, through every late night, every sacrifice, every door she had to kick open herself. She walks into the terminal, her scarf a soft blue thing her mom gave her trailing like a quiet reminder of home. At the check-in counter for Stellar Skies Airlines, a guy named Ethan Cole, all crisp uniform and polished badge, takes her passport and first-class boarding pass. He looks at it, then at her, and there's this pause, this tiny flicker, like he's doing math in his head, and it's not adding up. Why is she in first class? His eyes say it, even if his mouth doesn't. He hands back her papers with a tight smile, stamps her ticket like he's punching a time clock, and moves on. Amara catches it, that little sting, but she's been here before. Paper cuts of bias, small enough to ignore, sharp enough to bleed. She says a soft, thank you, and keeps moving, because if she stopped for every slight, she'd never get anywhere. Through security, into the lounge, it's all smooth, almost too smooth, like the world's trying to lull her into forgetting that flicker at check-in. The Stellar Skies lounge smells like leather and coffee, with soft jazz humming in the background. She sips a water, flips through her notes, equations that dance like constellations, and tries to focus on London, on the speech she'll give, on the weight of what this award means. When the boarding call for Flight 319 to London comes, she gathers her scarf, her carry-on, and walks to the gate, calm, steady, like she's done 100 times before. The first-class cabin is a whole other world: cream leather seats, polished wood dividers, the faint fizz of champagne in the air. It's a bubble of privilege, a place where you're supposed to feel like you belong. Amara slides into seat 2B, a window spot where she can watch the clouds part like a curtain to the stars. She's the only black woman in this 30-seat cabin, and yeah, she notices. It's not new, that feeling of being a lone star in someone else's galaxy, but it's there, heavy, like gravity pulling just a little harder on her. She stows her briefcase, adjusts her scarf, and tries to settle in, telling herself to let go of the check-in moment, to focus on the sky ahead. Then the lead flight attendant, Laura Bennett, sweeps in, late 40s, sharp cheekbones, a smile that's all polish and no warmth. Laura's got this air, like she's running a stage play and everyone's got their role except Amara. She pours champagne for the guy in 1A, a businessman with a Rolex. All charm and enjoy your flight, sir. She laughs with the couple in 1C, leans in to whisper about the wine list to the retiree across the aisle. Then she gets to Amara. The smile drops, just a fraction, but it's like the temperature in the cabin dips. Champagne? She asks. Not an offer, more like a checklist item. Amara nods, keeps her voice soft. Yes, please. Laura pours, sets the glass down without a glance, and moves on. No, enjoy your flight. No warmth, just a quick pivot to the next seat. Amara feels it, that wall, invisible but solid. Behind Laura, a younger attendant, Emily Hart, trails like a shadow, all nervous energy and soft blonde curls. Her name tag's slightly crooked, like she's still figuring out the job, but her eyes carry the same cool distance when they land on Amara. It's not loud, not blatant, but it's their ass signal that Amara's not a guest here, she's a task. Amara sips her champagne, crisp and perfect, but it tastes flat, soured by that unspoken dismissal. She pulls out her folder, spreads her notes across the tray equations, clean and impartial, a refuge where bias can't touch her. The universe doesn't play favorites, doesn't care about your skin or your seat. If only people were that fair. The plane takes off, Chicago's lights fading into a patchwork below, and Amara leans back, staring out at the stars starting to peek through the dark. Her dad's voice echoes in her head. The stars don't draw lines, Amara, but people do, and sometimes they'll dim your light just because they can. The cabin settles, passengers reclining into their pods, the hum of the engines like a lullaby for the privileged. But Amara's restless, that chill from Laura's glance lingering like a draft. She tries to shake it, tells herself it's just one flight, just a few hours. But deep down, she knows this isn't just about champagne or smile sits about something heavier, something that's been building for miles. Dinner service rolls around, and it's supposed to be a show, right? Gourmet meals, curated wines, the kind of thing Stellar Skies brags about in their glossy ads. Amara's read the menu, smiled at the flowery descriptions in the lounge, but now, watching Laura work the cabin, she sees the poetry selective. Laura's voice softens as she leans toward the businessman in 1A. The roasted duck is divine tonight, sir, with a blackberry glaze pairs perfectly with the Pinot Noir. He nods, charmed, and she's all warmth, like they're old friends catching up mid-flight. Amara waits, rehearsing her order, thinking the duck sounds good, something warm after a long day. When Laura reaches her, though, the warmth's gone, replaced by a clipped efficiency. Your choice? She says, notepad poised like a shield. Amara keeps her tone light. I'll have the duck, please. Laura's lips twitch into a thin smile, not even looking at her. The duck's very popular. We might be out. You should pick something else. Amara's brow lifts out. The cabin's half empty, and they're barely an hour into the flight. She knows better than to argue, though, not yet. All right, the steak, then, she says, her voice still warm, giving Laura an out. Laura snaps the notepad shut, like the conversation's at shore, and walks off without another word. An hour later, the smell of roasted duck fills the cabin, rich and savory. Amara watches as Emily sets a plate in front of the businessman in 1A, then another for the woman in 3B right behind her. The lie lands like a punch. Amara's steak arrives, perfectly fine, but it's not about the food, it's about the way it's served, like it's being tossed to someone who shouldn't be here. She looks at Laura, calm but direct, and says, I see the duck was available after all. Laura's eyes narrow, just a flicker, but she's quick with the comeback. We had just enough for pre-orders. Maybe next time you'll plan ahead. Amara knows there was no pre-order option. She checked. The lie's bold, delivered with that same cool efficiency, and it stings more than the coffee that's about to come. She presses the call button for a glass of water. The amber light glows above her seat, a little beacon in the dim cabin. 5 minutes pass, then 10, then 15. Nothing. She glances toward the galley, sees shadows moving, hears Laura and Emily's low laughter, like they're sharing a private joke. Amara's jaw tightens, but she keeps it together because that's what she does, holds steady, doesn't let the cracks show. Finally, she catches Emily passing by and says softly, Could I get a glass of water, please? Emily sighs, like it's a favor she's doing out of pity, and disappears. The water shows up 8 minutes later, plunked down without a word. Amara asks for a blanket. Emily's response is a curt, We'll see if there's any left, even though Amara can see a stack in the overhead bin, neat and untouched. It's a masterclass in passive aggression, all these tiny slights piling up, each one small enough to deny, big enough to bruise. Amara tries to distract herself, flips on the entertainment screen, but it freezes, pixelating into static. She reboots it, tries again, same thing. She presses the call button again. 10 minutes, no response. The laughter from the galley keeps drifting over, like a taunt. She's had enough. Unbuckling her seatbelt, she stands, her scarf brushing her hand like a reminder to stay grounded. She pulls the galley curtain aside, gentle but firm. Laura and Emily are there, leaning against the counter, scrolling their phones like they've got nowhere else to be. They look up, startled, then annoyed. "My screen's not working," Amara says, her voice low, careful not to wake the sleeping passengers. "Can you reset it?" Laura doesn't move, just sizes her up, a smirk curling her lips. "These systems are sensitive. You sure you're pressing the right buttons?" The condescension's thick, like she's talking to a kid who can't work a remote. Amara's patience frays, but she keeps her voice even. "I've been flying for 20 years. I know how to use a remote. It needs a reset from your end." Laura's smirk falters, but she recovers fast. "I'll get to it when I have a moment," she says, already turning back to her phone. Amara stands there, stunned by the open disrespect, treated not like a passenger, but like an inconvenience. She walks back to her seat, hands trembling, not with fear, but with a fury she's holding tight. Then Emily appears, carrying a steaming cup of coffee Amara didn't order. "Here," she says, flat. "Laura thought you might want this." As she leans across, her elbow nudges the cup, and hot coffee sloshes over the rim, splashing onto Amara's cream blouse and navy blazer. Amara gasps, more from shock than pain. The heat's muted by the fabric, but the stain spreads fast, dark and ugly. Emily's eyes widen, not with remorse but panic. "Oh, look what you made me do," she blurts, like it's Amara's fault. Laura's there in a second, her gaze zeroing in on the leather armrest where a few drops landed. "For heaven's sake," she hisses, grabbing napkins. "These seats are custom Italian leather thiel stain." She dabs at the armrest, ignoring the blotch ruining Amara's blouse. Amara's voice cuts through, sharp but steady. "I believe your crew member spilled this on me." Laura finally looks up, her eyes cold as ice. "Emily said you startled her. You need to be more mindful of your movements. Our priority is the safety and integrity of the cabin." Amara's breath catches, the audacity of it hitting like a slap. They spill coffee on her, blame her, and care more about the seat than her. The businessman in 1A glances over, sees the stain, then slips on his noise-canceling headphones, checking out. Laura hands Amara a damp towel, her tone final. "For your blouse." It feels like a scrap tossed to someone who doesn't matter. Amara takes it, the cold seeping into her palm, but she doesn't use it. She sits, fury sharpening into something dangerous, something focused. They think her silence is weakness. They're wrong. The cabin dims, passengers cocooned in their lie-flat beds, but Amara can't rest. The stain on her blouse is a dark reminder, every glance added a fresh cut. She tries the screen again, still frozen. She presses the call button, still ignored. The galley laughter keeps drifting over, a taunt she can't unhear. Her dad's words come back. "Sometimes silence is strength, Amara, but sometimes it's permission." She's done giving permission. She stands again, scarf like armor, and presses the call button one more time, making sure Laura sees it from the galley. This time, a male attendant from business class, David, steps up, his smile kind, professional. "Yes, ma'am. How can I help?" Amara nods, calm. "I'd like to speak with Laura Bennett, at her convenience." David doesn't question it, just heads to the galley. Laura emerges, her face tight with impatience, like she's been pulled from something important, though Amara saw her scrolling TikTok 5 minutes ago. "Yes," Laura says, her voice clipped. Amara lowers her voice, that calm, dense tone her students used to call her supernova voice, impossible to ignore. "I think we need to clear up the service I've received on this flight." Laura stiffens, arms crossing like a shield, but she tries to play it cool. "I'm not sure what you mean, ma'am." Amara doesn't blink, just holds her gaze. "I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. Fact 1. I asked for the duck. You said it was unavailable, yet it was served to the passenger behind me. Fact 2. My call button's been ignored multiple times while I heard you laughing in the galley. Fact 3. When I reported my screen, you suggested I didn't know how to use it. Fact 4. Your colleague spilled coffee on me. You blamed me, and you cared more about the leather than my well-being." The words hang there, heavy, like a star collapsing in on itself. Laura's ready for a fight, expecting Amara to yell, but this calm precision throws her off. She tries to recover, her voice dripping with patronizing venom. "Ma'am, Stellar Skies has high standards. Maybe you're just not used to first-class protocols. It can be overwhelming for some." The jab lands, sharp and deliberate. "You don't belong here." Amara feels it like a jolt, but she doesn't flinch. She tilts her head, a faint smile touching her lips, her eyes cold. Overwhelming. I map interstellar trajectories for a living. A reclining seat and a glass of champagne don't faze me. What's overwhelming is the unprofessionalism and prejudice I've dealt with for 6 hours straight. Laura's mouth opens, then snaps shut. She's got no script for this. Amara holds up the damp towel. Keep this as a souvenir, because when we land, I'm filing a complaint not just with customer service, but with the highest levels of your company. I'll list every slight, every lie, every insult, including your expert opinion that I'm not used to first class. Laura's mask cracks. Just for a second, fear flickers in her eyes before she covers it with a tight smile. Do what you feel you have to, ma'am, she says, voice trembling at the edges, then turns on her heel, her steps sharp as she retreats to the galley. Amara sits, exhaling slowly, her hands shaking not from fear, but from the release of holding steady under pressure. The stain on her blouse isn't humiliation anymore. It's evidence. The captain announces the descent into Heathrow, and Amara closes her eyes, thinking of her dad, of the stars he loved, how he said justice is like them distant, but always there if you know where to look. She's ready to shine a light. The plane lands, and the cabin stirs, passengers stretching, grabbing their bags. Laura and Emily are at the door, pasting on smiles, cooing such a pleasure to the businessman in 1A. When Amara reaches the jet bridge, Laura's smile tightens to a line. Emily avoids her eyes entirely. Amara walks on, expecting baggage claim, immigration, a car to her hotel. But just past the glass corridor, someone's waiting, a man in a tailored charcoal suit, tall, silver hair swept back, radiating the kind of authority that makes the terminal hush around him. Amara doesn't recognize him at first, but Laura and Emily do, and they freeze, faces draining of color. This is Marcus Vale, founder and majority owner of Stellar Skies, a legend in the industry, the kind of guy who could make or break careers with a nod. He's not looking at them. He's looking at Amara, and when he smiles, warm and unguarded, he steps forward, takes her hands, and says, loud enough for the whole terminal to hear, "My star." The words ripple like a shockwave. Laura's heart pounds, so loud she's sure everyone can hear it. Emily's breath catches, her knees wobbling. They didn't just mess with a passenger, they messed with someone Marcus Vale cherishes. Amara feels heat rise to her face, not from embarrassment, but from the sudden lift of that flight's weight. Marcus's eyes flicker to the coffee stain on her blouse, his smile faltering, replaced by something cold, something dangerous. Then he's back to her, gentle again. Come, Amara, let's skip the crowds. A car's waiting on the tarmac. We'll talk in the lounge. He tucks her arm into his, guiding her toward a private corridor marked authorized personnel only. An airport official clears the way. Laura and Emily are still at the jet bridge, their smiles gone, faces pale as ghosts. Marcus glances back, just once, his eyes locking on Laura's for a split second, not angry, but worse, like he's marking a flaw he's about to erase. The private lounge is a world away from the terminal's chaos, soft leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows, the faint clink of crystal glasses. Marcus pours Amara a sparkling water himself, insisting she sit, his movements careful, almost reverent. He doesn't speak until she's settled. Then he leans forward, hands folded, voice low. Tell me everything, Amara. Don't leave out a single detail. She hesitated, not one for drama. Planned to file a complaint quietly. Let the system handle it. Marcus, it was just a bad crew, she says softly. I can deal with it. His response is sharp, like a blade. No, this isn't just a crew. This is my airline, my name on every plane, my house. And in my house, dignity isn't optional. She sees the steel in his eyes, knows there's no backing out of this now. So she tells him, calm and factual, starting with Ethan's suspicious glance at check-in, Laura's lie about the duck, the ignored call buttons, the coffee spill, Laura's venom about her not belonging in first class. Marcus listens, his knuckles whitening, his jaw tight. When she finishes, he murmurs, almost to himself, they did this to Udo John Ellis's daughter in my airline. He stands, pacing like a lion caged, words spilling out in bursts. The arrogance, the ignorance, to judge you by your skin, to think you're less because of it. Amara tries to ease him. It's not your fault, Marcus. You can't be everywhere. He spins back, eyes blazing. The hell it isn't. This is my crew, my culture, my responsibility. He grabs a phone, presses a button, and his voice turns icy. Rebecca, activate code Orion. Flight SS-319 from Chicago, landed an hour ago. On the other end, Rebecca Lane, head of European operations, sucks in a breath. Code Orion's a nuclear option, a protocol that grounds the entire crew, suspends their badges, and locks them in the airport until an inquiry's done. Understood, Rebecca says, her voice grim. I want every crew member gate to Galleon Conference Room 7 in 1 hour. Bring HR, legal on a secure line, and the full files for Laura Bennett, Emily Hart, and Ethan Cole. Pull the first-class cabin audio logs, last 8 hours. Marcus hangs up, turns to Amara, his expression softening but still firm. I'm sorry, but I need you there. They need to see you, to understand what they've done. Amara exhales, not thrilled but knowing this is bigger than her now. Conference Room 7 at Heathrow is cold, gray, all polished tables and corporate sterility, but it feels like a courtroom today. Marcus sits at one end, granite-faced, Amara beside him, composed, her stained blouse a silent witness. Rebecca Lane and HR Director Karen Voss are there, files stacked, laptops open. At the other end, Laura sits ramrod straight, hands clasped, eyes defiant despite her pale face. Emily's a mess, blotchy-faced, trembling, staring at the table. Ethan fidgets with his tie, shrinking into his chair like he's trying to disappear. The pilots, confused but grim, sit off to the side, sensing something big. Karen opens with a crisp edge. We're here to investigate a code Orion incident, Flight SS-319. This is on record. Mr. Cole, floor's yours. Marcus leans forward, his voice low but heavy, like thunder rolling in. This airline was built on one principle. We fly planes, but we serve people, always with dignity. I learned that from a man who shaped me, a man who believed the worst kind of ignorance is thinking you know someone by their appearance. That man was John Ellis Amara's father. He gestures to her, and the room freezes. You looked at her, a passenger, a scientist, a woman who's earned her place 100 times over, and you judged her unworthy. You belittled her, excluded her, and that's unforgivable. Laura's lips tremble, Emily's sobbing softly, Ethan's tugging at his collar like it's choking him. Karen turns to Ethan first. Our data shows first-class check-ins average 2 minutes, 18 seconds. Yours with DR. Ellis was 42 seconds. Explain. Ethan stammers. It was quick, efficient. Her papers were in order. Karen's pen scratches the paper. A transaction, not a welcome. She turns to Laura. MS. Bennett, describe your interactions with DR. Ellis. Laura lifts her chin, voice steady but brittle. She was in 2B. We provided standard first-class service per Stellar Skies guidelines. Marcus cuts in, dangerously quiet. Standard? Play the audio. A technician hits a button, and Amara's voice fills the room. Calm, polite. My screen's malfunctioning. Could you reset it? Then Laura's reply, thick with condescension. These systems are sensitive. You sure you're pressing the right buttons? Laura flinches. The captain beside her shifts, disbelief on his face. The next clip plays the clatter of the cup, Amara's gasp, Emily's panicked, look what you made me do, and Laura's hiss about the leather seats. Emily dissolves into sobs. The final clip is Amara's supernova voice, listing each slight, followed by Laura's venom. Maybe you're not used to first-class protocols. It can be overwhelming for some. Silence grips the room like a vice. Marcus stands, slow, deliberate, his gaze sweeping Laura, Emily, Ethan. 15 years I've built this airline, and you've tarnished it with your prejudice. He nods to Karen, who speaks, voice steady. Effective immediately, Laura Bennett, Emily Hart, and Ethan Cole are terminated for gross misconduct. Badges revoked, names in the disciplinary registry. Laura explodes, her voice shrill. You can't do this. I've got 20 years of loyalty. Marcus's laugh is cold, cutting. Loyalty? I read your file. Laura complains in 17, 19, 22, always the same. Hostility to passengers who didn't fit your idea of first class. This wasn't a mistake. It's who you are. You're done in this industry. Emily's sobbing, whispering. I didn't mean to hurt her. I was scared. Laura told me to follow her lead. Marcus leans forward. Kindness costs nothing, Emily, and you chose cowardice. Ethan tries. It was just 40 seconds. Marcus snaps. You were the first gate, the first impression, and you acted like a bouncer, not a host. Security steps forward, and Laura jerks out of her chair, muttering curses. Emily stumbles up, barely standing. Ethan slinks out, eyes down. The door clicks shut, their career's over. Marcus turns to the pilots. You're cleared, but you command more than engines. A culture like this doesn't survive unless you let it. Watch your cabins like you watch your gauges. They nod, chastened. He sits, voice softer but firm. This isn't the end, it's the start. Rebecca, Karen, full report to the board. We don't hide this, we face it. Stellar skies will change because of this. Amara speaks, her voice steady but laced with emotion. Marcus, this can't just be about punishment. It has to be about transformation, or it'll happen again to someone who doesn't have you waiting at the gate. He nods, eyes softening. You're right. Karen, draft a program, not some box-checking workshop, something real, immersive. Dr. Ellis will guide it. By evening, whispers of code or iron spread through Heathrow's staff corridors. By morning, aviation blogs are buzzing. By the end of the week, passengers from Flight 319 are posting online, the businessman in 1A sharing a video of the coffee incident, the woman in 3B posting a photo of Amara's stained blouse. The hashtag MyStar trends, clips of Marcus calling Amara My Star, at the gate going viral. Laura's name gets blacklisted across Airline, stuck managing a duty-free shop, snapping at kids stacking shelves, her bitterness a cage she built herself. Emily heads back to Iowa, drowning in shame, but writes Amara a 3-page letter, confessing how fear made her complicit. Amara replies, short but firm. The past is done, but the future's yours to shape. Choose better. That letter becomes Emily's lifeline. She enrolls in social work, vowing to protect others from her mistakes. Ethan vanishes to Bali, chasing a fresh start, but guilt follows like a shadow. Amara and Marcus launch the Ellis Initiative for Dignity and Service, named for her dad. It's not just training, it's VR simulations putting crew in passengers' shoes, raw testimonials, workshops where people have to face their biases head-on. Employees resist at first, some rolling their eyes, others crossing their arms. But Marcus joins the first session, puts on the VR headset, and when he takes it off, his eyes are wet. If this feels uncomfortable, he tells the room. Good. Growth starts there. Amara watches, her throat tight, seeing his conviction match hers. The program spreads, and slowly, the culture shifts, crews quoting its principles in galleys, gate agents greeting passengers with real warmth. But change isn't easy. Amara's still a scientist, her research papers gathering dust while she's pulled into boardrooms and interviews. She calls her mom one night, voice cracking. I wanted to study stars, not fix airlines. What if I'm losing myself? Her mom's gentle but firm. Amara, your dad loved the stars for their truth, but he loved people too. You're not losing his legacy, you're making it bigger. That anchors her, keeps her going. A year later, she boards a Stellar Skies flight to Berlin, settling into 2B. A young attendant, Sarah, approaches, eyes bright. Dr. Ellis, it's an honor. I'm part of the first Ellis Initiative class. We learned that a ticket buys a seat, but our job's to give dignity. It changed how I see everything. Amara's throat catches, and she smiles. Champagne, please, she says, and as Sarah pours, Amara feels the last chill of that awful flight melt away. The story doesn't stop there. The Ellis Initiative becomes a lightning rod. Other airlines, like Horizon Air, led by a smug CEO named Richard Holt, call it overkill. At an industry summit in Seattle, Holt leans into his mic, voice dripping with disdain. Dr. Ellis, you had one bad flight, and now you want to rewrite aviation? That's not science, if that's ego. The room tenses, executives nodding, waiting for Amara to crack. She doesn't. Her voice is calm, a supernova wrapped in velvet. I'm not a crew member, Mr. Holt. I'm a passenger, and passengers are why your planes fly. My story isn't unique's a mirror you don't want to look in. The room goes quiet, even Holt faltering. Marcus jumps in, his tone sharp. Stellar Skies will keep the Ellis Initiative, with or without you. The first airline to embrace this wins history. The last one wears the stain of prejudice. The summit shifts the tide. Horizon Air faces a PR nightmare when a video of a black family being denied upgrades goes viral. The hashtag #WeSeeYou explodes, and their stock tanks. Holt doubles down, calling it a misunderstanding, but the public's done. Stellar Skies, meanwhile, sees bookings soar, passengers posting tickets with an airline that respects me captions. Amara's name is everywhere: documentaries, op-eds, letters from passengers saying she gave them hope. She struggles with the weight, wondering if she's betraying her science. But one night, a young black woman approaches her after a lecture, tears in her eyes. I flew last month and felt seen, welcomed, because of you. Amara hugs her, whispering, "It was never just me." The breaking point comes when Horizon Air removes a black teen from his business class seat, accusing him of sneaking in despite a valid ticket. The video his quiet insistence. The crew's hostility spreads like wildfire under My Seat, My Right. Protests flood airports, lawmakers call for hearings, and Horizon Air's board ousts Holt. Stellar Skies seizes the moment, open-sourcing the Ellis Initiative, making it free for any airline. It's a bold move, and the industry bends. Some airlines adopt it, others drag their feet, but passengers are watching. Amara's at the center, no longer just a scientist, but a force. She sits by her window one night, staring at the stars, whispering, "This can't happen again." Her dad's voice echoes back. The universe expands, Amara, and so must we. So here we are, at the end of this story, or maybe just the start of something bigger. Amara's flight was one moment, but it sparked a movement about dignity, about seeing people, not just seats. It's messy, it's hard, and yeah, it's still unfolding. But it makes me think, what do we do when we see someone being dimmed, dismissed, made invisible? Do we stay quiet, or do we shine a light? I want to hear from you. What's a moment you've seen or felt this kind of injustice, and what did you do? Drop it in the comments. Share this story if it hit you, and subscribe, because there's more to tell about people who refuse to be erased. Let's keep this conversation going.